Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Nitrous Corner. And today we're doing the new series where we're going to take my buddy here, JP, who's never seen any anime, and we're going to dive into some of the greatest series of all time. Starting with what, JP?
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop. Let's get into it. I think it's going to be tradition in this channel to drink a bottle of wine through every series that we watch. So today we're going to have a Chianti Classico with a side of Goldblum Heffenweiser.
I think it's trying to be named after Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. I mean, it looks like him, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that picture.
I don't think they got the first name part kind of.
Heff, yeah.
They didn't hit the,
They should have done it with like two F's,
They didn't hit the head on the nail there.
Right. That's a little bit of a, how we like to say,
A
stretch.
Yeah.
Well, let's get this bottle open. So let's let JP talk about his past with anime. I mean, being in America, in the Western audience, I suppose we're all kind of like exposed to some kind of anime as a kid, whether it be like, Power Rangers or like fucking like, I don't know, Avatar is not really, I don't consider it an anime, while it's like, it's a cartoon, but it's like a very good American cartoon. But I mean, you've seen stuff like Pokemon before, Dragon Ball Z, so I don't know.
Yeah.
What did you think growing up?
Growing up, like, I remember watching stuff like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And getting like really into it as a kid. And like, I knew it was coming from Japan, but like, I didn't know that there was this whole other world about, that existed around this stuff. I thought it was just like a specific kind of cartoon that came out on like Nickelodeon back in the day, or Cartoon Network.
Right.
So, and growing up, oh shit.
However many years ago.
Yeah, growing up however many years ago, you kind of like, you kind of outgrow that stuff eventually as a kid. But then, I think when we were in college and high school, fandoms, surrounding, like comic books and movies, like really came back into the mainstream. So like,
Right.
I think that, anime is one of those things as well.
Right.
And definitely I'm starting to see, like, even in the communities that on the internet that I exist in, like in the wrestling community or like film critics.
And it does spread out,
It does spread out. You definitely see it in other aspects of culture.
Cross-genre, yeah. So what did you think, like obviously, like, you seen Pokemon and whatnot growing up, like, what did you, is that what you kind of thought, like, all anime was? Like, up until you watched, because I mean, this is probably the next anime you've watched since then, like traditional Japanese anime,
Right.
Like, did you kind of have that perception, like all animes, kind of big, wide-eyed, like cartoony looking people, not really like made to be realistic in a sense, or like have that kind of real human aspect to it?
Yeah, and the big thing about Cowboy Bebop is, the story and the characters. And like, yeah, like back then I didn't really think there was a lot of, story or character growth going on. I'm sure there was, but that wasn't the main point. The main point was to, sell toys to kids.
Exactly, and in a sense, Cowboy Bebop was kind of supposed to be that until the freaking great Watanabe decided to say, screw that, and just do his own thing,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I saw something on that video I was watching, a shout out to whatever, what was it, Cinema Cartography, I believe, was the channel that gave me the idea. But they said Cowboy Bebop originally was to like sell spaceship toys, basically.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's like you said, like it was to sell something. It wasn't really for like the story or the art aspect of it, which is what got me into anime,
Yeah, it's so cool. Like, if I like being a film student, in college and stuff like that.
History or background of JP here,
Like, you always dream about, like making a film and stuff like that. And like genres that always interest me were like Westerns and sci-fi and noir and kind of dark stuff like that. And like, it's funny how like Cowboy Bebop kind of just like encapsulates all of that.
All of them so well, yeah.
And the thing I love about it too is that the space, the sci-fi aspect of it comes from that same kind of dirty and dark kind of sci-fi, and from like you get from like Star Wars and like Alien, where you can see like the logistics of how these ships are built, and like that, like it's not just the shining city as on a hill that kind of like Star Trek kind of plays with more.
Right.
Not to say that there isn't nitty gritty stuff in Star Trek either, but
I mean, a lot of people say that the Cowboy Bebop is the Star Wars of anime. I mean, it's like for me, seeing Cowboy Bebop, and this is why I kind of chose it as like our first series to enter you into this little old-fashioned weebdom kind of that we got going on here, is like anime in the U.S. never really took off until Cowboy Bebop aired, which was, I think it aired in
that's what I heard
2001.
about,
Yeah, and like that was the first series that really encapsulated like a older audience or like a more mature audience of anime in America and in the West.
What did that play on back in the day? Was it on
I think
Cartoon
it was
Network?
on Cartoon Network,
Toonami?
but I'm assuming, yeah, it was either on like, yeah, whatever Adult Swim was back then. I mean, it was kind of before my time. I was,
Right, we were 3
yeah.
when it came out.
Or, no, well, yeah, but it aired in 2001, I think, in the U.S. So we would have been like, I don't know what,
Yeah.
7 or something.
Was Toonami that thing that had like that blue robot
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
spaceship? That was so cool, I thought. So cool.
Yeah, but yeah, that's when like, I don't know, they kind of really attract like an older audience and had kind of like a niche fan base once Cowboy Bebop came out, which was kind of cool because then it allowed new series that were gaining really popularity in Japan to kind of come over to the U.S. because they knew that it would at least be met with some kind of, you know, fan base. It wasn't just going to come here and die and then go back and that's it. Where like, you know, there's a lot of pop culture in it and whatnot. Like,
Yeah, music for sure.
especially with Cowboy Bebop, which is another reason why I think it hits home over here so well, is because like this series in particular has like the best soundtrack out of a lot of shows I've ever seen. Like not even just anime, just shows in general. I mean, it's like perfectly choreographed.
It's almost to like up to the film expectations.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Like, and I think that's what Watanabe really wanted to do, was make like an epic in a sense. You know, he always talks about making his own genre and whatnot. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Dude, what do you think about this wine? This is.
Oh, I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, dude, take a sip of that. Ooh,
what did you say it is again?
It's a Chianti Classico. Highly recommended if you guys have never tried a Chianti. I mean, JP's still fairly new to wine. I just started drinking wine like probably 2 years ago because I was a server and we had like a big wine list. So really good wines. Check it out. Chianti Classico. Get one of the ones with this little, here, show them this logo right here. That's kind of like the official Chianti logo right there. So definitely check it out, guys. But let's get into the actual series and what we thought of it as a whole. Let's talk about plots, because I think that's a really cool thing, especially with Cowboy Bebop, because as most of you know, that you are watching this, you're probably, you know, anime fans, because that's what the majority of my channel is, but JP's new to it, so he doesn't really know that most animes have long arching overall storylines where, you know, it's an adventure and things happen along the way to lead up to like the end goal. But Cowboy Bebop is kind of like each episode's its own mini film in a sense, its own style, its own story, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, what did you think about that? Because you got a lot of film and history and you've seen a lot of other series. So.
Yeah. What I really liked was that kind of the main plot of the story is like you kind of revisited it like every few episodes of Vicious, like Battle of the Fallen Angels, and I think that was really the episode that hooked me into the show for sure.
Yeah.
Not my favorite episode, but which we'll get into later, but definitely one of the top ones. And it's just that classic shot of like just that stained glass window is so cool.
Right. That's like
and
one
that
of the
whole
best
conversation
shots.
they have. But yeah, I didn't think, you know, and Connor was trying to explain it to me how, you know, this show, it's not like a show, it's kind of like this long overarching story that goes for 26 episodes and then it's just over. And I was like, huh, that's kind of funny because like growing up to me, anime being Pokemon,
Never ends.
Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, I was a big fan of Metabots, if anyone remembers that.
Oh, there's definitely some Metabot fans out there.
Yeah, that thing was cool. I had like a Game Boy game I could fucking never, that was hard. But
No, those games were hard back in the day.
But this was, you know, 26 episodes, so, you know, there was this contained story that the person wanted to tell, which I think is cool. And like, you know, a lot of TV shows I think here, you know, some of my favorites, you know, that I grew up watching in high school, kind of when binge watching, you know, Netflix really started to take off, kind of started to suck after like, you know, its 7th or 8th season. It's like, what are we doing? You know, Breaking Bad, I think, is a great example of that, where it finished in 5 seasons. And I think that the producers and the writers of the show said everything they wanted to say about it.
Right.
You know, so.
That's
and
hard
had
to
the
do.
story. It is hard to do, especially you're making so much money.
Right, you have all the pressure from the
and
studio.
it feels like a family at that point.
Right.
You know, Game of Thrones, like they love going back like every year, from what I hear from interviews and stuff like that.
Right.
Because it felt like a family to go back to.
For sure. I mean, obviously there's not per se like actors that are on camera, but
Right.
obviously there is voice actors, and like a lot of people don't really see that. They just see the characters, the animated characters.
And that's so cool because they're
Yeah.
they're fucking drawings.
Yeah. It's
They're
sick.
and these characters have so much with it. Like
Right.
they all come with like their own baggage, their own pile of shit that they have to clean up
Right.
throughout the show.
Yeah, which was another cool thing as far as like side characters go in this series, because I think they did such a good job in this series of like, each episode's its own story kind of up until, some parts of it are backstory, some of it kind of connect in the end, but most of it is like from the perspective of either one of the bounties they're hunting or somebody that they're helping. And each of these side characters are only in really one episode. Like there's not that many
Right.
that kind of reoccur other than the crew of the Bebop and maybe a sitting token bull, whatever you call him.
I think my favorite character, though, that was like kind of in one episode was the heavy metal queen. I really enjoyed that episode, and that you saw like these guys, these truck drivers in space,
Right.
kind of going back to that Star Wars alien thing I was kind of talking about earlier, where like you see like these people like these cockpits of these trucks that they're driving or space
Right.
whatever transports, and they look like like these 18-wheeler guys who drink, tall boy Budweisers and shit like that. So it's really cool how that was in there.
Yeah, and it's cool too because like you love that character in that episode, and it's like it was such a small part of the entirety of like the whole series, but like it was still that impactful where you remember that, and like it was one of your favorite things of the series, where it's like they do them so well, like these quick backstories and these minor characters are still created and so thought out that they really do impact the entire series in such a short amount of time. Whereas like some other animes that are longer, like you'll literally have a character in it and you won't even touch their backstory for maybe 100 episodes or something, like crazy and long time. Like this guy, Watanabe, he found a way to make these characters come in and come out, but like when they come in, it's like they pack such a punch that it's like it just sticks with you. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And that's something that you, again, can do in a contained 26 episode story arc.
Right. Also, another cool thing about when Cowboy Bebop came to the US is like, up until this point, in most animes, like the subtitled version is considered like absolute, like the best.
Right.
Completely. But a lot of people think that the English dub version of Cowboy Bebop is the better version.
Yeah,
and
I heard a lot of people say that too.
Yeah, like this crew that they put together for it was like, they put so much into these characters and creating them and like really becoming them themselves that like it was phenomenal. And it's like really hard to see because even today, like most of the animes coming out, people prefer the sub versions. I'm not gonna lie, full disclosure, I've only seen the English dub of Cowboy Bebop because it's so good that I just haven't watched the original yet, but I should probably do that.
Yeah.
It's still pretty cool though to see like that it has that much of like that much of an impact over here, and I'm not sure if it's popular in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm sure they don't really watch English dubs, but maybe they do.
I'm sure that my first few series that we will watch will definitely be dubbed because that's going to be a big thing.
And that's another thing that we'll talk about in another video because most people start that way. Some people never watch subs. They're like dub only. I'm only gonna watch that. I'm never gonna watch subtitles. And it's really, even for me, that's how I was up until I got like so addicted to anime that I was running out of dubs to watch, so I had to watch subtitles. But like, it's a big thing once you take the step into subtitles and you can really compare and contrast the two. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to check out that Vinland one that you told me about.
We'll watch that.
Being a big Vikings fan, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's on the list, I think. We'll see.
We'll
Because
see.
number 5 is kind of up in the air.
Okay.
So that could be a good number 5.
Badass. All right. So next, we want to talk about our favorite episodes during the show. So I'll go first. My favorite episode, honestly, it's like a strange pick because there's so many good ones and like so many that go on like throughout the show where the characters progress and they become more depthful. But like honestly, the first episode, Asteroid Blues, was just like awesome. The soundtrack is awesome in it with the big harmonica song, Spooky Dokie, which honestly is probably like one of my, like it's queued up in my YouTube playlist like so much these days, because it just sets a great mood, and just it kind of feels like that's one of those episodes I think that stick out. That's like definitely a Western. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Because it's like there's a robbery, there's a chase, there's a shootout in a bar. There's 3 Mexican guys there making jokes the whole time, and they show up like later on in episodes when I think they come back to Mars.
Yeah.
Which is sick.
Yeah, you definitely see them again, for sure.
Yeah, but the whole red eye thing, I was just like, whoa, what is this? Like,
and dude, it was so cool to see like the aspect of like filming from like a first person perspective to when he's in the red eye. Like that's such a unique you don't really see that in a lot of anime.
Yeah,
it's cool.
That kind of brings us back to yesterday. We were watching a movie called Brightburn.
Ooh,
it was a really cool movie about like what if it came out like 2019. What if Superman landed and instead of deciding to be like a symbol of hope and justice and the American way, he's just a dick and decides that no, I'm just gonna kill people instead of help people. And there was this one scene, try not to be spoilers, where he's chasing a person through a house, a restaurant, and the girl gets a piece of glass in her eye. And it was so cool because the director decided to film it, and like one eye was red and was like blurry while she was like running through the whole thing.
It was the most
kind of a
uncomfortable
tangent,
thing,
but it was very uncomfortable to watch.
Queasy as hell.
Great movie though.
But dude, back to the first episode as well. The action in that first episode was some of the best action scenes in this whole series.
And you see Spike like, he practices the Bruce Lee School of Martial Arts right there. I don't know what it's called either.
It's cool though.
But it's cool. And you see him in the beginning of the episode, his kind of intros, him like doing the stretching. It's kind of like famous now.
Yeah. Flow like water.
Of course, smoking a cigarette because he's always smoking a cigarette.
Right, Mard Brad too.
They just pound him in that show.
Yeah. They do. They pound him, dude.
They pound
that
him.
Scene in the last episode.
They complain about money, but like
he's spending a lot of money.
You know
on
how
cigs.
much packs of smokes cost a fucking arm and a leg.
Yeah, making wacky tobacco out there in the future.
I'm glad they can still grow it at least. I'm glad the tobacco industry is still going. But unfortunately, they brought some of the worst things to outer space, like religion. How there was like a wedding going on Mars, and there was like a church. I'm like,
yep, never gonna leave.
Never gonna leave. Anyway, not to get into politics, but
Well, dude, my favorite episode, you guys can probably tell because at this point you know that my favorite things are thriller, horror, and dark fantasy. So it's Le Parrot Faux. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but the one with the mad, crazy, like mutated serial killer.
Kind of looks like the penguin. And
he looks like the penguin from
like the
Batman.
shape of the penguin.
Right.
You know what? No. Nightmare Before Christmas. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Just the top hat and the shape. It's like a...
Yeah.
Anyway.
I know exactly what you mean. I don't know what the character's called, but I know exactly what you mean.
The mayor of the Halloween town or whatever.
Yep. But I don't know, that episode just hit home for me. Like, it had such a like uncomfortable kind of like suspense vibe to it through the whole time. Like his laugh was crazy. It's kind of like a Joker laugh, and like he just like walks out and sees him murdering these people. But it's like the series or the episode kind of took like an edge at this point. He just like slaughters these people. It's freaking crazy. It was like unlike anything we've seen yet in the series.
The scene where he's doing those kicks and like doing backflips and like just kicking Spikes in the head, and he just like gets up, and I'm like, oh, he's all right.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
Tough,
He didn't land on his head. But.
That was awesome. It was kind of like the, like I think a lot of the episodes, like another one of my favorite episodes, Toys in the Attic. That's a complete, like it's kind of like Alien.
That was my second favorite.
Don't leave anything in a fucking fridge.
Don't leave anything in the fridge.
When you're in space. Learn that lesson. the clown episode, I can't remember. It was some French name.
Yeah, it's like Le Perrat.
Right. It's kind of like, a Terminator movie because they couldn't like kill him until...
They couldn't kill him. But the fact that they couldn't kill him, dude, kind of like, I drew this connection of that episode, like foreshadowing the last episode. Last episode, when he's talking about like he's never known if he's alive and he's going out to like figure that out, right? This last challenge of Vicious. He kind of, to me, seemed like he was doing that almost with this guy that was seemingly invincible. He like, it posed, like, it was the only person so far in the series that has posed any challenge to Spike. Spike's just destroyed everybody else. And he like had, I don't know what it was, but he had to go out and just defeat this guy. And like, I feel like that was kind of like innate in him, as like, he needed to, see if he could defeat him, because this guy seemed to be invincible, and if he can't die, then obviously he'll find a way to defeat him or whatever. So kind of drew some comparisons to that in the last episode, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So we want to talk about characters as well. Like, my favorite character was Ed, actually, believe it or not, because I thought that she was like super weird, and I love weird, and she also added like a comedic aspect to the show, which I think was very needed, because it was kind of like some of the other characters can be kind of dry. Like, I love them all, but without her,
they can be downers,
right. And she adds like a upbeat,
I mean, if I woke up in a coma, 50 years later, and then they put 30 million, and then I had to pay a hospital bill of $30 million, I'd be pretty fucking pissed.
Right. If I had to eat beef and peppers every day.
Right, but no peppers.
But no beef.
Just the noodles and the peppers.
Yeah. So who was your favorite character?
I like Spike was honestly just, I thought, like a really cool character, and like how he's an amalgamation of so many like classic film characters in the past, like Clint Eastwood from the Man with No Name trilogy, the one with A Fistful of Dollars, Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Some other characters in there as well that I can't think of off the top of my head. But he's just one of those characters that you can feel that just has like this huge pile of shit and like baggage that kind of just follows them everywhere he goes. You know what I mean? And I found out the other day, listening to a podcast on YouTube, that the wardrobe that he wore was actually taken from like a popular character on Japanese TV back in the day. I don't know what it was. I didn't know that.
That's cool.
Definitely a really cool cosplay, I think, and maybe one I'm gonna hop on
once we go to
Halloween.
Our first con too.
Yeah.
Whenever they're open.
Right. Who knows? Who knows? It'll be virtual. But just a really cool character, I thought, and
for sure.
Like how it was one, like, and his relationship with Vicious, like, Vicious wasn't even in a lot of episodes, even being the main villain of the show. But like, you felt it as soon as like their eyes locked on screen. Like, these guys have a huge past.
Yeah, it's like an explosion.
It was, and honestly, Vicious definitely being probably my second favorite character, because I love bad guys.
You do, yeah.
And like just the line, like, there's nothing to believe in this life, was just like,
so dark.
So dark. Okay. When he's chasing down like his former best friend and like wants to kill him. So just a really cool like character like thing going on there, and relationship that I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that's for sure. So what did you like? Obviously, like Cowboy Bebop blends so many styles and film types together that like, what did you think of like every or not Cowboy Bebop. Spike is obviously kind of like that Western cowboy kind of guy. Like, what do you think of like say Jet? He kind of has more that noir aspect to him.
Yeah. So I definitely think that Spike has that. It's called Cowboy Bebop.
Exactly.
He's definitely the main character of the show, and he has that relationship that every great Western like cowboy and character has in films, is that relationship with death, and how death is following them, and death is inevitable, and how they fight death every day in their lives. Spike became a bounty hunter because he had to eat and stuff like that, and it kind of just kept going on in his life, even though when he tried to leave it, when he left the syndicate.
He never really left it.
He never really left it, no, and it comes back to bite him in the ass. But he has that relationship with death and that huge scene at the end, like when he's saying, you know, I, you know, woke up and I had a, you know, a duplicate eye, or a replica eye.
Yeah,
and like,
glass eye.
I see the past and I see the, you know, or what
Or
I
the
think
present.
the present or
Yeah.
the past, and
Yeah,
like I
he's-
don't know what's real.
Right.
I don't know if I'm dead or alive, and like that was a really cool scene at the end, or that famous line he said at the end was like, "I'm going to see if I'm alive." Was just like, wow, that's
Right.
really cool.
Definitely was like a Western aspect, you know, like they're always chasing that purpose and that meaning, and then he's like, in a sense, I mean, he lost Julia, right? So he didn't really have that purpose or meaning anymore. So now he's just going. He's just gonna go
he's
see
on
if
his-
he's alive.
He's on his last.
He's
you
on
know,
his last leg.
He's on the you know the YOLO stage.
The
where
YOLO
I'm
stage.
just gonna sacrifice myself.
Right. Except for he didn't have one of those tank tops.
No. Yeah, and if only Boromir remembered his shield too. But
For
he
real.
forgot it for some strange reason.
Yeah. Classic.
Noir is definitely another big influence. We've kind of talked about how, you know, the styles of sci-fi and stuff that's
Right.
with it earlier in the video, talking about, you know, the dirtiness versus the city on a hill type aspect of it. But noir is definitely another huge genre that is part of this awesome show,
Right.
because you know, there's a lot of qualities like of noir that, you know, it's dreary, it's dark, it's dreamlike. There's a lot of suffering that goes on in it,
Right.
and kind of Faye and Jet really embody that genre of the show, because Jet being an ex-cop, like that's
Right.
like definitely one of the biggest film noir tropes there
For sure.
is, and they're battling
PI.
their battle with what's right and what's wrong now, because they've been screwed by the system, and now they've, you know, he's a bounty hunter, he's kind of going against the law, but not real. I mean, it's still legal, obviously, but it's like this immoral kind of
Right.
practice that he's just kind of thrown himself into because he needs to make money, and Faye, I just, could you imagine?
Saucy.
Could you imagine waking up so many years
I
later
don't know how
and
many
saying,
years. It was a lot of years.
yeah, I mean,
it was a
because
hell
it
of
was
a
2071,
years.
and this came out in the 90s, so like,
Right.
that was, you know, 80 something years. I don't know the exact math, but
Right.
yeah, that's crazy.
She is saucy though.
Oh yeah,
She's saucy as hell.
oh yeah.
I don't know. Did you have any kind of like theme or style for Ed? I couldn't really put something. I guess sci-fi. For
Maybe,
like
yeah,
her
kind of
hacking
being
and
the
stuff.
and just kind of being the quirky, like eccentric
Yeah.
character that
Right,
is the
definitely
comic of relief.
eccentric.
You know, I was thinking the other day that like comparing it to other stuff out there, just because like it's a natural thing to do sometimes. Is like,
Right.
you know, it's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, where like all the kind of the
That's crazy.
characters like line up.
That's crazy how you said that, because I literally, as soon as you said you were thinking of connecting it to something, the first thing that came to my head was Guardians of the Galaxy, and then that's
Right.
literally, he hadn't told me that before. I literally just like clicked. I was like, dude, that's like a crew
Right, because
flying
you got
space.
you got Spike and Star-Lord, who are
Yeah.
kind of the main protagonists and kind of like running from their past.
Right.
Gamora, who's got like family issues from the past.
Right.
Jet kind of lost his family, just like Drax did.
Yeah.
Not to draw too many comparisons.
Yeah, no, but like the crew, I mean, Ed and the fucking Rocket.
Ed and
He's
Rocket
like kind
are
of
the
a
same.
tinkery kind of comedy guy.
And then Groot and the dog.
The dog.
is like these weird, like genetic,
Yeah,
mutated
mutated things.
things. Just to draw a comparison, I don't know.
That's funny. No, I see it. I see it for sure. So one reoccurring thing we want to do for this series is cast a live action role. JP came up with this idea. I think it's actually pretty sick. So we're going to do it for each series that we watch. We're going to come up with actors that we think would be cool for that role.
Yeah, and like we're just gonna kind of go off like what, like visually, you know, we're not gonna really worry about age or.
Right.
We're just gonna be like, what character or like what
be
actor or
sick.
what actress would
Yeah.
be really cool to play these parts.
I think we both have like a pretty
General idea. There's
General
one in here
idea
I
of
don't
Spike.
have, so we're gonna try to come up with one off the top of our heads
Right.
here.
So JP, Spike.
Spike.
I mean,
It has to be Keanu.
It has to be
Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
It has to be.
It has to be.
You know,
John fucking Wick.
And
dude.
I know that there is a live-action Netflix show coming up that's gonna.
Is there?
Yeah, remember?
It's confirmed?
The one with the guy from Harold and Kumar. Yeah, it's.
I did not know that it was confirmed. Shit.
Yeah, no, they were gonna start filming, and then the guy broke his leg, so they had to postpone it for 7 months.
Dude, they got use Keanu Reeves.
Then,
Don't postpone it.
And
Recast.
And then COVID. Maybe he's filming John Wick 5 or 4 or whatever. I
fucking hope so.
I think they're filming 4 and 5 together, actually.
Really?
Yeah, to save money. But
well,
anyway,
regardless, we agree on Keanu Reeves. Make it happen.
He's had such a big vocal support for Cowboy Bebop over the years, and he's claimed in a lot of interviews that it's like his favorite anime, and he's a huge fan. So, and I think he'd be perfect. Like honestly, the Bill and Ted hair that he has, if they just put that a little green, if you're going to want to go for a spot on remake, or vision of it.
Give it a little bit of a green hue. But they could probably do that in After Effects
right,
too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the Bill and Ted hair is almost perfect for the Spike's haircut.
Right.
But I think he'd be awesome in the role of Spike.
Look, dude, let's do Jet next, because I think JP had a really cool Jet. I'll say mine first because mine's not that cool, but I don't even, what is the actor's name? Or no, I can't even remember who. Oh yeah, no, I did. For some reason, I thought Todd Packer from The Office, but if he jacked up, I literally thought of him just because he has the same kind of hair.
He has the same hairline.
Just because he has the same hairline. His fucking hairline. That's what I thought of him. But no, JP, I think, came up with a cool one, and I never would have thought of this.
Yeah, I thought Idris Elba would be a really cool casting as Jet, because I think he could carry that kind of weight of Jet and that kind of level of gravitas in his voice and kind of the elder presence that he has.
And he's yoked.
Yeah, and he's yoked.
Yoked out of his mind.
For that cyborg arm would be sweet.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think Idris Elba would make a really cool Jet visually.
Right. He'd kill it. Let's be honest,
he'd
kill it.
For Faye
Valentine.
I had Angelina Jolie, a younger Angelina Jolie. I think would have been really good for it.
Because Faye has
just because she has that I think that action.
She has that everything.
She could do the action scenes I don't know. Mr. and Mrs. Smith I thought was a sick movie.
Oh yeah.
And she did I thought she really did a really good job of choreography and stunt work in that film. So when I saw that, I was that could be. I could see her playing Faye.
Right.
Especially in a film like Wanted too.
Right, yeah. That was definitely
kind of
more the action aspect.
Yeah.
I don't know why. For me, I thought Kristen Stewart would be a cool Faye, and the only thing I haven't seen from her that is the comedy kind of aspect. Because I think Faye does have some little zings and little stingers that are funny, and I've never seen Kristen Stewart really do that. But I think Kristen Stewart's really good at doing that kind of noir kind of edgy vibe that Faye has when she's doing her action and flying the ship and whatnot, and her backstory kind of stuff. So I think that part of it would have been pretty cool, but
yeah,
they're both saucy.
Yeah, definitely another cool choice.
Right. I didn't have anybody for Ed.
I couldn't come up with an idea for Ed, and I was thinking of just shows out there that I know that would because how old is she supposed to be?
I think she's probably preteen,
middle
teenager.
School age, probably.
Dude, I just thought of this. What about, I don't know what the actors, Millie Bobby, I think it is, the fucking 11 from, what's the show? Sci-fi, Stranger Things.
I haven't seen Stranger Things.
You haven't seen,
I know.
He hasn't seen Stranger Things, guys.
I know. It's on my list.
Jesus Christ. Well, she would have been sick for Stranger Things.
Okay. I believe you, because I know there's a lot of good child actors in there that are kind of quirky.
She's a great actor. She's that age. I think she hasn't really done comedy yet that I've seen, but I think she could do it for sure.
Cool. See?
We always come up with something.
Last character is Vicious.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of doing a Vicious.
Right, because I picture it as for a featured film, two something hour movie. They could kind of do. They don't just have to do the Vicious storyline, which will kind of be like the main plot of the show or the movie. But you know, you can put some of those other classics in there, you know, throughout the way, and kind of like intertwine them with Vicious's story in a way, because it's not going to be just like they're going to just remake the entire show. They're going to re-envision it a little bit.
You have to.
Right,
You know,
and I think that's
episodes.
what the Netflix show is going to do, unless they do all 26 episodes.
It's going to be a show on a Netflix film?
No, it's going to be a Netflix show.
Oh,
I don't know how many episodes or anything.
I don't know how I haven't seen this.
Yeah, no, it's on. It's big news. It's kind of been postponed because that guy broke his leg. But the casting choice I had was Jared Leto. I think he'd be really cool.
That would be
in the
pretty
role.
sick.
And I think him and Keanu Reeves could do some pretty cool stuff together. They seem like they could have been friends back in the day or something, that could have that same relationship as Spike and Vicious. And like, I can just see him in that like silver long hair, kind of like in his, you know, Morbius, that movie that's coming out hopefully or whenever it comes out, you know, kind of like that kind of look. And, you know, I think he would kill it.
I didn't know we were doing Vicious, so I didn't think of anybody, but if you put me on the spot, I would say, based off watching him in the new Batman film, because he does a really cool, like, edgy, kind of dark character, Robert Pattinson.
Oh, yeah.
I think would be kind of cool.
That would
like,
be really cool.
He's been in some good shit lately, dude. Lighthouse. If you haven't seen the Batman trailer, is it called? Just Batman?
The Batman, yeah.
If you haven't seen the Batman trailer yet with Robert Pattinson, go check it out. Right now.
Do it.
Because it's
Stop what you're doing.
It's great, and like he's gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I think
He's
why
been in
not?
some other good stuff. That movie, Good
not
Time.
Vicious?
It was an A24 film that he was in.
Okay.
He
I've
was
been hearing
in,
a lot about A24 lately.
Oh yeah, you got it. That's, you know, one of the best studios I think going today. There's like just quality films coming out that just don't give you
Kind of small.
that
too,
don't
right?
give you a headache.
It's
I mean, it's
more
getting
of an
big.
indie- yeah, it's getting big, for
because
sure.
the quality of films they put out are just amazing.
Yeah.
But
Was Lighthouse?
It's still Lighthouse is. Good Time was as well. Robert Pattinson's been in a couple. He has also been in one that they were like in space or something, and like his daughter, and he was like the last survivor or something, like grew up. Heard that one was really good too. But I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, no, Robert Pattinson would actually be, I think, a really good choice for Vicious.
I didn't say it right off because I was thinking like I can't picture him in like long blonde or white wig, but like fuck the wig, like he would be sick.
I didn't think he was gonna be Batman after.
I didn't think he was gonna be fucking Batman. When I heard it, I was like, please.
So
Edward Cullen is not Batman.
So you never know what happens.
But he's
Batman. They're both based off bats.
They're both. They are. They're both based off bats. Wait. Based off bats? No.
Bats.
Based off bats. Well, guys, that is our review and our take on Cowboy Bebop. I think it's one of my favorite animes of all time. I mean, you know, my favorite is Hunter x Hunter. JP hasn't seen that. That'll be one for way down the line because that's more anime right there. You guys know what I'm talking about. But I don't know. What did you think of it, JP?
Oh no, I loved it. You know, like I was kind of explaining in the beginning. Like it's just kind of what I would want to try to create. Like it's just so cool. It's blending so many genres together, and like it says in that little crawl, it's like creating its own genre. And it's, I mean, like that show. What was that show back in the day that like did one episode? Firefly. That's what it is. Never saw it, but like I know it's got like a cult following, and then they did that movie about like a continuation movie, which they did with Cowboy Bebop that we haven't seen, but could be a cool idea for a video eventually. Yeah. I know it takes place in between like a couple, like 2 episodes within the show, so like it's the whole cast and stuff like that, which will be awesome to see again.
Cool. Well, guys, this is the first series we're doing with JP as he enters into weebdom. Stay tuned because we have a couple more series we're going to do. Next, we're going to do Samurai Champloo. We're following the Watanabe theme because he does that. He directs that one as well. I don't know if he created the story. I'll have to look into that because I honestly don't know. But he directs it. I do know that. So if you enjoyed this, stay tuned and see how JP's weebdom develops over time. We're going to curate his journey and see what we get him into. Probably Vinland Saga, because he seems to be really into the Vinland Saga.
Yeah. All right.
He loves Vikings, this guy.
Oh, yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. It was awesome hanging with you
Peace.
guys. See you later.
Next time. Oh shit, I was supposed to do. Well, guys, this is. Well, guys, stop your fucking laughing. All right.
So, hold on.
All right. So next, we want to talk about character. No, I don't want to. Oh, wrong goal.
Favorite episodes?
Yeah. What is that? Ugh. Oh God. Yeah, that.